25 years. I spent the last 6 years heading up marketing for a massive healthcare company, hyper growth, big company. And doing healthcare staffing during the pandemic was its own special kind of hell, where I burnt out, my friends burnt out, my colleagues, our nurses, everyone burnt out. And it really threw me into studying this and researching this at a deeper level. So I'm going to share some of this with you today. I'm thrilled to be here, and I would love to know where you guys are dialing in from. I'm going to ask you to do a few things in the chat, so feel free to connect. I'm excited to chat with you and share this message with you today. So before I do, I would love to know, though, do I have your permission to just keep it totally real with you today? Drop a 1 in the chat if that works for you. We all have things going on. I don't want to beat around the bush. I want to keep it totally real. Thank you, Don. I see you. Dan, Deborah, Lori, Russell, Perry, Chris, Robin. Yes. Okay, perfect. We're just going to keep it real here, folks. Amongst friends, there's not too many of you on the call, so we're just going to have a little interaction here. Thank you, guys. So the reason I asked that question is because last year was an absolute doozy for me. It was hands down the most my entire life. And I know that I'm not alone in that. Like, you have difficult jobs, you have a lot of pressure, there's change, there's expectations, and you probably wear a lot of different hats, both at work and at home. So the stuff that I'm going to talk about today, it's not just about burnout. I want to tell you a story about how these few tools absolutely changed my life and helped get me through the hardest year of my life. And don't worry, it's not meditation. Like, we all know that can work, but that's not what I'm going to talk about today. The tools that I share are based on science, decades of research, and thousands of interviews and surveys with high achievers that I did when I was prepping and writing my book. They're practical, they're powerful tools that you can use in your personal life and your professional life. It's not just about preventing burnout. It's not just about like doing your job better. It's really about how can we thrive as human beings when life gets tricky, when you get thrown curveballs, when work gets really difficult. So when I burnt out, I thought that was rock bottom. I burnt out a number of years ago, and I thought that was really going to be like the worst of it. And little did I know that actually turned out to be just the warm-up act for 2024. Let me just tell you about this year. So last year. So 2024, it actually started at the end of 2023, but I say 2024 to keep it simple. So it was a doozy. In the span of a few months, my whole entire life pretty much exploded and disintegrated. I had been trying to get pregnant with my husband for many, many years. We had done multiple rounds of IVF, had multiple miscarriages, failed adoptions, used an egg donor. I mean, you name it, we tried it. We had just bought a new house, our first house ever. We had spent months and months and months gutting the whole thing, revamping it, because that's all we could afford in San Diego where we live, which is atrociously expensive. And we were so excited. So we move into the house, and I finally get pregnant. 2 days after we move into our house, we go to the doctor to hear the heartbeat for the first time, and there is none. We lost that baby. And that was devastating because we had tried for so long and spent so many thousands of dollars. I don't even want to count how much money we had spent to get to that point. So I lost the baby. 3 weeks later, my husband accidentally killed our dog in a horrible accident. Horrible. The dog was only 3 years old. And for anybody who doesn't have children, this dog was like our baby. That caused my husband to have a full mental breakdown, to the point I had to call 911 because I had never seen anything like it. He relapsed on a drug addiction from college. That got so bad I had to stage an intervention and get him into rehab. Our marriage fell apart. I ended up moving out of the house that I only lived in for 7 months, put my stuff in storage because I still had to pay half the mortgage, and literally lived out of a suitcase and stayed with friends and family for like 6 months. In the span of just a few months, I lost my baby, my dog, my husband to drugs, my marriage, my house, and my dream of becoming a mom. Like, That is a lot of stuff to unpack in a really short period of time. And I tell you this for a couple reasons right out of the gate. One is to just level set with you. Like, we're all going through it. No one gets a free ride. We all have stuff that we're dealing with. But I also tell you this because despite everything that happened last year, I had my best year ever in business. Best year of my life. I made more money than I've ever made in my life. I spoke on some of the biggest stages in the world. I spoke for Tony Robbins and Jesse Itzler and so many huge brands. I had a book come out that was a bestseller. Like, I had an epic year professionally last year, even though my personal life was an absolute dumpster fire. And I tell you this because, like, the two can be the same at the same time. You can have a great year in one part of your life and a terrible year in your other part of your life. These things happen all the time to us. Nobody gets a free ride. We all get thrown challenges. And sometimes they're spaced out where we can handle them, and sometimes they're all shoved together in a really short period of time, like I had. And it was interesting because this period of time last year really brought me to my knees and made me reevaluate a lot of things. And what I realized is that all of the tools that I started using when I burnt out were the same tools that helped pull me through this really challenging year. Now, I have always been somebody that, like, lived my life by this mantra of thinking, if I work hard, I win. And if I don't win, I didn't work hard enough. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Drop a 2 in the chat if that sounds like you. I would love to see if that resonates. Like, if I work hard, I win. And if I don't win, I didn't work hard enough. We just think, okay, well, I'll outwork everybody. Jessica, Nisa, Perry, I see you. Robin, yeah, we just think, no, I'll just outwork everybody, come in earlier, stay later, get another course, get another certification. Like, I'll do anything because I'll just outwork everybody. And this started very young for me. This started when I was in 4th grade. I had my very first job in 4th grade. I was a munchkin in a professional theater production of The Wizard of Oz. Oh, yeah. If you get a job as a munchkin in a professional theater production in 4th grade, you're winning. I worked hard at rehearsals. I worked hard on the choreography. And I will never forget that first opening night. I was so excited because not only was I a munchkin, of the like 30 munchkins, I was one of 4 coveted tap dancing soldier munchkins. I loved it. Like, if you could get the role of tap dancing soldier munchkin, you were winning in life. Look at that little gem there. My mom dug this photo out. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I got to put it in my presentation. Excuse me. So, I'll never forget, like, that first opening night, standing in the wings, feeling the excitement, the energy of the audience. My little soldier helmet was tight under my chin. I had my little black patent tap shoes on. And I tap danced my way across that stage with the precision of an Olympic athlete. I munchkined like nobody had munchkined before. And the crowd erupted. Felt so good because I knew they were all clapping for me, and my riveting interpretation of second tap dancing soldier munchkin from the left. I mean, why wouldn't they be clapping for me? Can I get you guys to mute? Somebody's got a lot of noise in the background. That would be super helpful. But I knew that they were clapping for me, and like, it just felt so good. This was really the first moment where I was like, okay, if I work hard, I win. I want to keep winning. So I'm going to keep doing more of this. So I knew how to tap. So I learned how to do jazz and ballet and modern and all the dancing. That led me to swimming. I'm from Southern California. So, like, swimming's popular here. I joined a competitive swim team, swam year round. That led me to softball and tennis and piano. I hated piano. Did anybody else have to suffer through piano lessons when you were a kid? Drop a 3 in the chat if that was you. Did anyone else just sit there and think, like, how the hell is this even legal that they force children to do piano lessons? It's awful. Oh my gosh, nobody? Am I the only one that had to sit through piano lessons? I now wish I played the piano, but it was awful. But I pushed through like any little good achiever. I finally got my first job in a dance store, came in early, stayed late, worked extra hours, and this carried on through high school and college. I just kept adding more to my plate, more to my resume, more internships, took summer school so I could graduate early, all the things. These were all activities that were just more feathers in my cap, feeding my achievement addiction. I had fallen into this relentless loop where the pursuit of accomplishments became my primary source of validation and self-worth. I was constantly chasing the next goal, the next accolade, the next career milestone. And I really felt like each success would bring this lasting fulfillment. But instead, I just kept wanting more and more and kept moving the needle. And this catches up with you. And for me, it caught up with me a number of years ago when I was the head of marketing for the largest healthcare staffing company in North America. We grew 27x in the time that I was there. We were this hyper growth company, 6,000 employees, $11 billion of revenue. Like I had 75 people on my team. I was reporting to the CEO. And I remember just having this moment where I was like, everything looks good on paper. Like I have the job, I'm making good money. Like I have a big team, like this, I'm doing good work that's helping the world. But like, why am I so miserable? Why do I feel so dead inside? Why do I feel so unhappy? And sure, like I had seen all of the stats that 57% of workers are burnt out, 70% aren't engaged, and that there's even been a 44% increase in burnout since the pandemic. Like so many people think the pandemic, that's when people burnt out, but God, it's even worse now than it was then. I don't have to tell you that. I'm sure some of you are feeling it. But I really didn't think that burnout was real. I thought it was some BS excuse that people used who couldn't get their lives together. I was like, oh man, you're burnt out? Like, go take a nap, go sort yourself out. I thought it was something that happened to weak people and lazy people, not high achievers like you and I, not people that are motivated and driven, that work hard and win. But I was completely wrong. And so I really started down a path to study this, to learn more, to research it. And I interviewed and surveyed thousands of high achievers, people from all different walks of life, like New York Times bestselling authors, leading diplomats, retired Navy SEAL captains, doctors, lawyers, musicians, celebrities, like you name it. People from all different walks of life who had all reached the highest levels of success, trying to figure out like how the heck they're doing it. How did they stay at this high level of success without burning out? And so I put together a number of tools and steps from all of that data and research and my own personal experience. I'm going to share a couple of those steps with you in our short time together today. So let's dive in. I want to let you know I have a number of burnout resources that are going to be available at the end. There'll be a QR code and a URL. You can download those tools. There's a burnout assessment, a mental health toolkit. There's a burnout toolkit. There's tools you can use with your team if you manage a team, etc. There's also a place for feedback, and I always welcome your feedback. So let's dive in. Our first step is really to recognize, as motivated, driven, high achievers, we tend to be really good at just ignoring warning signs, just pretending things aren't happening. Like you ever just have like that nagging shoulder, that nagging ache in your shoulder or in your knee, and you just sort of ignore it forever until you like blow out your knee and you're like, oh gosh, maybe I should have got that checked out. Like we're really good about just numbing out. Maybe we just drink a little bit more every night and pretend things aren't happening. And I know that I was really ignoring the warning signs when I first started to burn out. I was doing so much stuff, like just aimlessly scrolling Amazon or Instagram, buying more crap I certainly didn't need when I was on conference calls. I had unnecessary road rage, and like I'm already from Southern California. So like if you don't start your car the second that light turns green, I'm like, boop, well, courtesy honk to get moving. I was accidentally fasting, which is like intermittent fasting, but with more meetings, when you just don't eat all day. I was doing some shady stuff like the mouse jiggle, when you're at your desk and you're there, but you're not really there, and you guys use Teams. So you just want to jiggle your mouse every now and then to make it look like you're still active on Teams. Oh yeah, I was the queen of the mouse jiggle. It got so bad that I was doing stuff like on a Friday, if I hadn't done the work that needed to be done, I would send an email at the very end of the day being like, hey, John, please see attached. Send the email, go to about my merry way. But I didn't attach anything on purpose. I was just praying to God that John wasn't going to check his email over the weekend. And I would like buy myself a few more days to get the work done. Then on Monday, I could send the email being like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to attach it. Like, shady stuff, my friends. This is not stuff I'm proud of. This is not working hard and winning. This is just like losing. But I kept doing it. And it eventually caught up with me. And maybe you're feeling some of these stressors too. Maybe you're having a hard time setting boundaries and prioritizing. Maybe you've got digital distraction. I mean, geez, I've got my phone on my desk and I'm constantly checking it all day. I have to start hiding it around my house so that I stop checking it. Maybe you're struggling with this concept of a personal life and a business life and this balance. I mean, it can be really tricky, especially if you're anything like me and have a year where you've got some stuff happening in your personal life. Maybe, you're struggling to say no to things. You feel like you have to say yes to everything. You're struggling to say no. Maybe you're dealing with a lot of stress right now because of supply chain issues, tariffs, the economy that seems to be going up and down like the wind, depending on the day. These are stressful things that have a big impact on your business and your lives. There's no shortage of ways that you've been tested, that you continue to be tested. And yet I have a feeling that there's a lot of you that may be just ignoring these warning signs, ignoring what's happening, and just pushing through. Because when you work hard, you win. And so what I realized through my research is that there are 13 universal signs of burnout. And these are signs that often we don't always associate with burnout. So I want you to look through this list of items here and really take an honest look at yourself. Are you have a feeling of exhaustion where you're just exhausted all day, every day, no matter how much sleep you get? Do you have a sense of dread where like you just don't look forward to anything? Irritability, like the way your partner chews or swallows or breathes drives you nuts. Maybe it's physical pain. We all keep pain in our body. The body keeps score. Maybe you're making poorer choices. And these don't have to be like life-altering poor choices. They could be just, drinking too much or eating too much or shopping too much or whatever your poison is. Maybe it's lack of motivation and just don't feel like doing anything. Isolation, I mean, that was a big one for me. I just didn't want to go anywhere, didn't want to interact with anybody. Maybe it's an inability to escape. I know that's a big one for a lot of people where you try to go on vacation and you're either always on your phone the whole time, or even if you're not on your phone, you're just mentally cannot shut it off. You can't turn it off. And it's hard to just escape, or you're at your kid's soccer game, but you're distracted. You're on your phone, you're answering emails, you're checking your voicemail, etc. Maybe it's just a sense of hopelessness. Why bother? Why should I try? It doesn't matter anyways. Really take a moment to think through these. Get honest with yourself. How is burnout showing up in your life? How's it showing up in your team's lives? What are some of those warning signs that you might be ignoring? Drop a 3 in the chat if any of this is resonating with you. Like, can you see some of those warning signs that are showing up in your life? You don't have to list which ones are showing up, but I want to know. Like, I didn't think that those were all associated with burnout. I see you, Vicky. I see you, Jessica, Dawn. Yeah. Like sometimes we just need this little wake up call to be like, wow, there's a lot of things. Michael, Justin, I see you too. Yeah, it's a lot. So get honest with yourself and really have a moment of like, okay, I am ignoring this problem. God, I really have been feeling like that a lot lately. Maybe I am getting a little bit of burnout. So our first step is recognize. If we can't diagnose the problem, we can't fix it. So we got to get our head out of the sand, get real with ourselves, recognize what the issue is. And our next step is to do less. And I'm not saying just do less of your job. I'm just saying that we are so used to living in a constant state of exhaustion that we don't even know what an alternative feels like. We're so used to just running ragged all day, every day. We don't know there's an alternative. I mean, when was the last time that someone asked you how you were doing and you're like, oh my God, I am so well rested. I'm so relaxed. I have so much free time on my hands. And you know what? I am so fulfilled. It doesn't happen. we just naturally, when people ask us how we are, 99% of the time, the like natural response is, oh my God, I'm so busy and I'm so tired. Like that's how we answer. But if we don't slow down, our body will do it for us. I am sure that you know people who have been perfectly healthy and then just drop dead of a heart attack or get some horrible cancer diagnosis or even smaller things. Like one of my girlfriends, she is the mayor of a small suburb outside of Sacramento. And about every 4 to 5 years, she gets kidney stones. She knows now that it's her body's reaction to her just pushing too hard. And so hopefully she can stop it before she actually gets them. But our bodies will slow down if we do not do it for ourselves. And I love this stat out of Gartner that says proactive rest leads to a 26% increase in performance. When we're busy, the absolute last thing most of us feel like doing or think to do is like take a step back and rest. You know, oh, maybe I should go take a nap. Maybe I should walk around the block. No, we're like, I'll come in earlier. I'll stay later. I'll work this weekend. I'll bring in some reinforcements to help. Like we're not thinking, oh, I need to go take a nap. But I'm sure you've all had that where you're sitting at your desk and you're working and you're trying to get something done. And like you're just, there's nothing happening. You can't focus. And then it's taking you forever to get it done. So you step away, and if you do that, you come back, all of a sudden, like you can think clearer, you can knock it out in a fraction of the time. But what's interesting is that for so many of us that are such high achievers and movers and shakers and leaders and doers, when we decide that we need to take a self-care day or we need to sort of focus on ourselves, we swing completely in the other direction and do what I call is play recovery bingo. This is when you just go so far in the extreme. You think, okay, I need a self-care day. Great. I'm going to book 10 sessions with my personal trainer. I'm going to get a massage, an acupuncture, and a facial. I'm going to make green smoothies every day and take probiotics. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to write little positive affirmations for myself and leave them all over the house. Maybe I'm going to journal and start having some 2-hour morning routine. I mean, you see these on social media. It's like, do these people even have jobs? Like, maybe you start doing all the latest in beauty treatments, like the snail mucus treatments or goat yoga. Maybe you decide, you know what? I'm going to go to Costa Rica and do ayahuasca in the jungle and take this crazy psychedelic that like makes me find my inner self. We do all the things. When I burnt out, was at the depths of my burnout. My schedule was so jam-packed with every recovery tool I could think of. I was like, am I relaxed yet? Start taking things off my calendar. We have to be able to commit to less so that we can show up more. Commit to less so that we can show up more to the things that give us excitement, that fill us up, that light our fire, that bring us joy, that move the needle, both at work and at home. Instead of constantly adding more to our plates, we've got to remove the things that do not serve us. There is a great quote out of Coco Chanel, the famous French fashion designer. And she says, before you leave the house, take one thing off. And she's talking about dressing with accessories and that less is more. I say, before you start your week, take one thing off. I look at it as like a little game of calendar strip poker. So what are those pieces of your week draining you? You know, when you're playing strip poker, you don't start with the big items, you start with the little things. So like, what are the socks of your calendar? What are those things that you can take off to give yourself just a little bit more breathing room in your calendar? And I know there's probably some of you sitting there being like, you know, whatever, lady, like, you don't know how busy I am. You don't know how many kids I have. You don't know what I got on my plate. I see you, but maybe start by taking off a little guilt, take off a little shame. Maybe we get rid of a few of those shoulds. Maybe you graduate to just turning the music off in your car, turn the podcast off. We don't have to be productive every single minute of the day. It's crazy when we give ourselves a little bit of silence from time to time, solutions start to bubble up to problems that we maybe have been struggling with. We just give ourselves a sense to calm down, our nervous system a break. Maybe this is the week that your kids carpool to soccer practice with somebody else. Maybe you schedule 50-minute meetings instead of 60 and give yourself and your teams those 10 minutes back. Something I did for my team was meeting-free Fridays. I had a bunch of people on my team, and sure, I wasn't in control of the whole company, but there weren't any marketing meetings on Fridays, because I'm sure some of you have felt that, where like you're in meeting after meeting after meeting all day. You get to Friday and you're like, I haven't done any work. I've just been in meetings all day. And so you carry that stress and that weight into the weekend. I wanted to give my teams a little bit of time back to hopefully get some of that work done. Maybe you've got plans 3 nights this week and it's stressing you out already. Cancel the plans. We do not have to show up for everything, because if we keep showing up for ourselves, we will never, if we keep showing up, for everyone else, we will never show up for ourselves. It's important, especially when you're overwhelmed and stressed out, maybe burnt out. We have to be able to show up for ourselves. So what is one thing that you can take off your calendar next week? One little thing that's draining your time, your energy, or your resources that's not moving the needle. Time to take it off. Our next step is gratitude. When we are stressed out, when we are overwhelmed, being grateful really tends to be the last thing we feel like doing. We tend to get in a sort of Debbie Downer spiral of like, I hate my job, I hate my life, I hate my partner, I hate this. Like we struggle to see the good in things. And what's interesting is I loved this stat out of Cornell University. 85% of the stuff that we worry about never actually happens. I mean, when I'm overwhelmed and I'm stressed out, I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. I'll just lie in bed and like commiserate over all the crap I have on my plate and all the things that are going to potentially go wrong. But it's like so wonderful to think 85% of this stuff is not going to happen. And the same study says that the 15% that actually does happen, never as bad as we think it's going to be. So next time you're up at 3 a.m. with your mind just churning, remember this stat. It's important for us to realize that all this stuff's not going to happen. And instead of this constant go, 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 win, what's next mentality, constantly moving the goalpost, always seeking out that achievement addiction, how do we shift our mindset to really enjoying the moment, showing this gratitude, and really savoring some of these wins? Not just the big wins, they don't happen that often, but the small wins and the progress. And there's a couple tools that I use for that have really helped me. And one is just appreciating small moments of joy. How many dog lovers do we have in this chat? I want to know. Like, drop a 4 in there. I want to see who. I'm trying to get to my screen. How many dog lovers do we have in here? How many dog lovers? Okay, I see you guys. Love it. Love it. Love it. Jessica, Kevin, Robert, Vicky. Yes. I mean, this video, every time I watch it play, I'm like, I want that to be me. There's just nothing better than like making out with your dog. I mean, it's one of my small moments of joy. I finally got a new puppy after the horror of what happened to my last dog. It took me about 1.5 years, but I just got a new puppy who's 4 months old and he's darling. But you may hear him barking at some point. But making out with my dog is one of my moments of joy. So is my very first cup of coffee in the morning. I just have some old school, like $20 Target special Mr. Coffee thing. Nothing fancy, but that thing is a workhorse. And I love it. It like gurgles away in my kitchen, smells up my whole house. And I just really try to savor that first cup. Another thing that brings me joy is calling my parents during their happy hour. They have been married, get this, they have been married for 54 years. And I am convinced that the key to their marriage is the fact that they just have happy hour every night. They're drunk every night. And it's funny because they used to do happy hour at 5. And then during the pandemic, they moved it up to 4 because, I mean, what the hell else did they have to do? And so my mom's new mantra is, if it's 4, it's time to pour, which cracks me up. But it makes me happy. Like, I know that my dad is sitting at that chair and he's got a martini, and my mom is sitting over there and she has her wine. They spend a couple hours solving all the world's problems, and then they go in separate rooms and watch TV in separate rooms because God forbid they watch the same thing, you know? And it's just cute. It brings me joy. What are some of those small moments of joy in your life? those things that make you happy, those things that get you excited. These may seem like small, insignificant things, but when you are stressed out, when you are overwhelmed, when you are burnt out, it is these small little things that you sprinkle in throughout your days and your weeks that really help you get back in touch with what excites you and what brings you happiness. I really encourage you to think through what brings you joy. The next tool I love to use is really remembering and reimagining our vision for our lives. Like, why are we doing all of this? It is so easy for us to just wake up, get ready for work, get the kids to school, pack the lunches, work all day, school pickup, dinner time, bath time, homework, exercise, date nights, like fall into bed. And then we just get up and we do it all again the next day. Why are we doing all of this? Like, what is it all for? A lot of times we'll think about, what we want for our life at the beginning of January. And then come like January 20th, we've forgotten all about it. We don't do anything until next year. So I wanted to find a way that I could remember my vision and remember why I'm doing all of this stuff and being grateful for what I'm doing in my life. And so there's one tool that I use, and I was reminded of this last week at the grocery store. I was in the dairy aisle because I love me some smelly French cheese and all things dairy. Thank God I'm not, lactose intolerant. I would die. But I'm at the cottage cheese aisle, and there's like a million cottage cheeses in front of me. Like, have you ever wondered why there's so many different types of cottage cheese? There's like low fat, non-fat, full fat, dairy-free, lactose-free. There's like big curd, small curd. They even have ones with pineapple. Like, it's crazy. And so, I got to win. If I work hard, I win. And I want to win at breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day, so they say. So I'm like, I take a couple and I'm looking at the ingredients, trying to figure out which one I need to get. And then I hear it. Who doesn't know what I'm talking about? The opening line from the Dixie Chicks' Wide Open Spaces, which is one of my favorite songs. Who's never left home? Who's never struck out? And I loved it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, this is my song. This is my jam. This is the song that reminds me that I have wide open spaces. Like, it is my theme song. It's a song that I've always loved, that every time I hear it, it gets me fired up. It gets me excited. It reminds me that I have literally wide open spaces ahead of me, that I can do whatever I want in my life. And so the next time that the rest of the time that I'm in the grocery store, I'm thinking about my theme song and what I'm doing with my life. And it also reminded me that I don't have to win at cottage cheese. Okay. Just pick a cottage cheese, throw it in your cart, and move on with your life. But not to be outdone, I put it back and I grabbed the one in the back, because we all know the one in the back is better than the one in the front. And then I go for the rest of my time in the grocery store. The song is playing and I am reminding myself of these different parts of my life. What is my vision for my health, my wealth, my career, my family, fun? I think so often we forget the fun bucket. Like, life shouldn't just be a long dental appointment. It should actually be fun. What sort of travel do I want to do? How's my fitness, my friends? Am I investing in friendships? My spirituality, philanthropy. What are those things on my bucket list that I've just been ignoring? I don't have kids, but obviously if you have kids, I'm sure that would be one of your important pieces as well. These are some of the buckets that are important to me. What's important to you? And what would your theme song be if you had to pick one? I love this idea. Drop it in the chat, because I would love to hear what your theme song is if you had to pick one. A song that just gets you excited, gets you fired up, gets you motivated, makes you feel like you can conquer the world, or just makes you feel like a badass. Like, these are the songs that lift us up. And I love this notion, because sure, you can make a vision board, but that feels so much work. You've got to be crafty. You've got to do all this stuff. I don't want to have time to do. I don't have time for that. I can't be bothered. But when you pick a theme song, you might hear it at the grocery store. You might hear it at the gym. You might hear it in the car. And you don't have to tell anybody, but it's a great reminder to just think through these different parts of your life and what's important to you. And are you over indexing in certain areas and completely neglecting other areas of your life? How can you be grateful for the things that are going well and spend a little more time in the areas that maybe you're neglecting a bit? Okay, you guys are not a chatty group. No theme songs? There's gotta be some good ones out there. I had one girl shout out in an event I was at the other day. She's like, working 9 to 5. I was like, that's your theme song? I'm like, I love Dolly, but come on, working 9 to 5, you're missing the point. But I also know like we would probably all love to just work 9 to 5. So there you go. Anyways, I'm going to assume that you have some amazing songs picked out. You just are too nervous to share them. And our last step is to repeat. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a slow erosion. It is the accumulation of pushing and pushing, ignoring signs, chasing more and more and more until one day we wake up and you have nothing. This is not some one and done life hack. It's a way of life. It's a system to protect the passion and purpose and energy that makes you great employees, that makes you great leaders, parents, partners, and friends. But as we all know, life is going to keep happening. These tools I shared today, they're not going to stop life from happening. They're not going to stop unexpected challenges from coming your way, both at work and at home. But they're going to help you keep going anyways. They will help you hold on to yourself, to your health, your happiness, while you keep doing work that matters, work that changes lives, work that makes an impact. I don't know what is at stake for you. I don't know the hopes and the dreams you're ignoring. I don't know the life that you're living to make someone else happy. I don't know the private battles you might be fighting, the addictions you may be hiding, or the losses that maybe you've already suffered. But my hope is that you don't have to have some life-altering situation before you realize that there is a lot at stake. I don't want you to have to sacrifice your joy and your sanity or your relationships just in the name of success. Because this constant push for more, it isn't ambition. It's addiction that can lead to devastating consequences. So as a quick summary, when we recognize where we are, we get in the habit of reflecting and activate awareness so that we can really start to see more clearly. I skipped do less because we didn't have enough time to get all the steps, but there's more information on that in my tools at the end. When we start smaller, when we do less, we prioritize and we become more present to focus on what actually moves the needle. I did skip start smaller. When we practice gratitude, we shift from chasing what's missing in our lives constantly to just celebrating what we already have and activating more joy in our lives. And who doesn't want more joy? And when we repeat this process, we really are able to integrate these tools into our lives. We don't just prevent burnout, we actually build resilience, because resilience isn't just about bouncing back when things get tough. It's about burning bright no matter what comes our way, both at work and at home. And I know this because I lived it. At the lowest point of my burnout, I was barely holding it together. I was exhausted, I was drained, I was running on empty, I wasn't showing up as my best. And deep down, I knew I was absolutely starting to lose my edge. And then one day my boss called me and it was awful. I saw his name on my phone and I just knew something was wrong. I knew it was not going to be good. I answered, I braced myself, and he says, Erin, do you want to be here? It doesn't seem like you want to be here. Feels like you're just phoning it in. Do you want to resign? Whew, that stung. Never in my life have I been asked if I wanted to resign. And let's be real, like being asked if you want to resign is a hair of being fired. And I am not somebody who gets fired. I am somebody who works hard and wins. And here I was, burnt out, exhausted, a shell of who I used to be. And I wasn't thriving, and I sure as hell wasn't being resilient. I didn't have these tools at the time. I didn't know what I know now. And because of that, I nearly lost everything. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you waiting until it's too late to take back control of your energy, of your focus, of your life. Because life will continue to knock you down, no matter how hard you work, no matter how many times you've won in the past. We are all going to have those moments where either personally or professionally, we have some huge setback. It happens to everybody. Burnout will creep in, and stress is never going away. But the difference between the ones that stay stuck in burnout and overwhelms and the ones that rise and thrive at peak performance is resilience. And now you have a few tools to help you in the times where you're inevitably going to face those challenges. Challenges like I had last year, where thank God I had these tools. These tools may seem so simple, but they all stack up on each other and give us time to just reintegrate, re energize ourselves. They give us little pockets of peace and moments of joy and happiness in our lives. Because when we're feeling down and out, those are the little moments that fill us back up and bring us back to life. So you have these tools now, use them all the time, as often as you want. It is time to get out there, burn bright, not out. Thank you so much, my friends.
Thank you so much, Erin. This was so interesting. And I definitely love the commit to less and show up more and taking one thing off.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
Well, you've got my contact information there. If you use the QR code or the URL there, you can ask questions in there. I'd be happy to connect. Find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. My contact information is there. I would love to stay connected, would love to help you and be a resource however I can.
Thanks, Erin.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.